held by the Millonario. Some changes made today by Martín de Michelis, the head coach, welcoming Platense fresh off a wonderful victory for them at home against Racing 3-0 in a game that basically saved Martín Palermo's job as the manager for the Calamar. Let's get to the starting lineups. First, the home team. The coach, as we said, is Martín de Michelis. The goalkeeper is the world champion Franco Armani. Milton Casco, Robert Rojas, Paulo Diaz and Enzo Diaz. The back line of four. Rodrigo Aliendro coming back and sharing the middle of the field with the captain Enzo Nicolás Pérez. Pablo Solari, Ignacio Fernández, Agustín Palavecino joining the Colombian Miguel Borja, who scored the winning goal against Boca in that penalty kick in stoppage time. This is Millonario Ríver Plέit. And from Vicente López, very, very close to where the Monumental is. The coach is Martín Palermo. Goalkeeper is Ramiro Macagno. Nicolás Morgantini, Miguel Jaquet, Marco Pellegrino and Sasa Marchich on defense. Ronaldo Martínez, Iván Rossi, Franco Baldassarra, Gonzalo Valdivia, alongside the captain Nicolás Castro and Nicolás Cerveto. The 11 initials of El Calamar, the Squid, Platense. Round 17 here in Argentina kicked off way back on Thursday with the win by Arsenal over Independiente 2-1. Wins by Godoy Cruz, Unión, Rosario Central, Estudiantes, Boca, San Lorenzo, Lanús, until we reach the first draw, the scoreless game between Tigre and Atlético Tucumán. And ever since, it's been nothing but draws. Belgrano Talleres in the Córdoba Derby, that was earlier today, 1-1. Sarmiento Huracán, 0-0. And Colón Barraca Central also 1-1 over in Santa Fe. Game between Racing and Vélez postponed due to the tragic passing of the assistant to the head coach of the reserve team for Vélez. And a look at the standings before we kick off. River is the leader with 37, followed by San Lorenzo with 35. Talleres and Estudiantes with 31. Here's the big thing, of course, 2 points separating River and San Lorenzo, the chance for the Millonario to extend that number to 5 if they can defeat Platense here tonight. For their part, the Calamar sitting in 16th place with 20 points. Good chance for them to get into the top half of the positions. With a fantastic atmosphere, packed crowd, over 80,000 spectators here at the Monumental. We send it to Juan Arango and George Metellus taking over the game between River and Platense, wrapping up round 17 here in Argentina.
For River, it's a chance to make amends to what happened last week after losing to Talleres. Maybe that sounds a little bit too harsh, but the reality is the fact that River now know that a negative result here would put San Lorenzo all of a sudden in the title race. So they know that, especially in front of an almost full house, they have to respond with an alternate lineup, also keeping in mind the necessities of having to be able to get a result midweek in Copa Libertadores. So with that in mind, what do you see? A team that, from a historical standpoint, has the most lopsided series in the first division. I'm talking about Platense. A team that they've lost to the most, Platense, are facing River. And not only that, you also have a tinge of the past also emerging as well, as Martín Palermo making his debut at the Estadio Monumental as a coach. So you have all of this embodied into one 90-minute foray. George Metellus, how do we view it? How do we see it? Where do we start kind of picking at it to make it make sense?
Well, I think we have to start with the attack for River Plate and scoring goals early and often to get that positive momentum going ahead of that big matchup in the Libertadores. So we'll see how well River move the ball around in their attack, and then obviously the finishing with Borja, you know that if he gets a chance in the area, it's a very good likelihood that they're going to score. But also look out for the defense of River as well, because River's defense, especially in Libertadores, in league play it's been good, but in Libertadores it's been shaky. So we'll see how the defense responds if Platense can get some good movement going forward. But this is all about River Plate dominating at home against a team that, as you mentioned, historically they have dominated in Platense. River Plate cannot go easy on Platense in this match and build up some positive momentum, positive mindset psychology, if you will, before that big trip to Lima to take on Sporting Cristal.
We'll see how the crowd continues cheering here at the Monumental, especially if things are going well. Agustín Palavecino getting his 100th match today. Milton Casco will also make history. He'll play his 250th match as a River Plate player on this day as well. The history, as I said, lopsided between the two. And that's what's going to make things quite interesting, as we see, of course, both sides. Ivan Rossi, former River player. Meanwhile, we see Nazareno Arasa. He'll be the main referee. He will be accompanied by Adrián del Barba and Maxi Castelli. Fourth referee will be Lucas Caballero. And of course, on VAR, it'll be Ariel Penel, who was the referee for Tigre just yesterday. And Ezequiel Brailovsky will be on VAR, on a VAR, I should say, as both teams getting ready to go for this encounter. As you can see, obviously, George, almost a full house here in the neighborhood of Núñez. We'll see exactly how things play out for River Plate as you start to get now into the second half, near that final third of the season. And this is when results have more weight to them, maybe from a psychological standpoint. But when you look at it overall, it's going to be quite interesting to see when River do start knocking the ball around on the pitch, how they start responding, and of course, how Platense look to counter that.
Platense, they know that they're not going to have much possession here. So it's very important for Platense to keep their shape defensively, stay organized defensively, track all the runners of River going forward so that they can do their best to stay in this match. And then when they do have possession on those rare moments, because we know River are going to dominate the possession, they have to be able to take their chances and be efficient. So Platense's defense is going to be strongly tested here by River Plate, and they can't buckle under the energy and excitement that these River fans have packed into the Monumental.
As we await for the indication from the referee, of course, as there has been throughout the round, there's been a moment of silence. As of course Andy mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, and we've been mentioning throughout the entire weekend, of course, the moment of silence that will go starting now. Of course, that in memory of Hernan Palito Manrique, one of the assistants of Vélez reserve side, who passed away on Friday. And of course, we share in that tragedy and also send out our condolences to friends, family, and of course, everyone involved at Vélez Sarsfield. And we're underway here as Platense in their traditional brown, River in their traditional white, and the always familiar red stripe. So starting out of the back once again, Milton Casco, as one of the men that's establishing a new mark in his career at this club, makes yet another start. Basically, you look at the position for position with River, a lot of substitutes, a lot of second stringers, as of course everyone, or the more important players, the more relevant players being rested for the match against Sporting Cristal midweek. Is that ball getting knocked out of bounds? It's a perfect opportunity for Platense, although that's kind of downplaying some of these individuals, because at one point many of them happen to be starters. Many of them could be starters in most teams in the first division. Did not say all of them, as a matter of fact. Yep. Platense looking to play that ball around. Cleared away by Robert Rojas, the Paraguayan, just knocking that ball deep. Looking, Nacho Fernandez is trying to chase that ball in very close quarters. Finally, the ball goes back and it'll go River's way.
Well, we talk about the depth of River, and that should be enough with the depth that they have. They should be able, especially here at home, they should pick up the 3 points. So we'll see how this match plays out. And remember, San Lorenzo putting pressure on River at the top of the table. So this is a big game. This is a big week for River in terms of their trophy implications here. And then Martinez responding with the equalizer, and then after that, Platense really shut down River, except for 1 or 2 good chances. I think the second half is going to be fascinating, and I think if you're Platense, you have hope that you can come out of this stadium with 3 points.
We shall see what ends up playing out. In the meantime, we'll send it over to Andy Schimmelmann as halftime is upon us here at the Mas Monumental. It's 1-1 between River and Platense.
We're back here at the Monumental Stadium, a 1-1 draw so far between River and Platense. After the very early goal by Miguel Borja, shocking equalizer from the Paraguayan Ronaldo Martinez, a couple of mistakes by Franco Armani that could have cost River even further. But it's 1-1, a very strong performance by the team coached by Martín Palermo, Juan Arango, George Metellus, Andres Schimmelmann here with the halftime show as we review once again round 17 here in the Liga Profesional de Fútbol, some of the key games. Victories by Rosario Central, Estudiantes, Boca as visitors against Argentinos, and especially San Lorenzo. 2-0 over Instituto, 2 goals by Andrés Bombergar via penalty. Putting the pressure on River so far, as we will review in just a couple of seconds. 3 points away from the lead. Here is precisely the table, the updated standings with the current scores. River 38, San Lorenzo 35. And then Talleres and Estudiantes with 31. 3 points of a gap between the Millonarios and the Ciclón. Remember that they have to play against each other, I believe either in round 23 or 24. The game between River and San Lorenzo. the two main title contenders. Platense picking up a good point so far, tying Gimnasia for 15th overall. First half highlights from the Monumental. A greeting between two teammates at the 2010 World Cup of the crossbar for the number 10. Platense with some advances as well. Bringing the fight to Ríver so far here. A very interesting second half awaits us. 45 minutes that could be crucial for the title race as we are getting closer and closer to the final stretch here of the Liga Profesional de Fútbol. Still more than 2 months, slightly over 2 months of competition remaining. But we are watching a decisive game, that's for sure. This is the last game of round 17. The action will restart on Friday for round 18 with Atlético Tucumán and Arsenal. Some key games for next weekend. Barraca Central hosting San Lorenzo, Defensa y Justicia Racing, Boca hosting Tigre, Talleres Argentinos. And then on Monday, Vélez Ríver from Liniers. Some of the games to look into for next week. Now, time to take a look at all the goals scored between Saturday and Sunday in the Liga Profesional. First, it's going to be a pair of penalties converted by Andrés Bombergar, the Argentine-Slovenian, giving the win to San Lorenzo, 2-0 over Instituto. As the Ciclón keeps on winning under head coach Rubén Darío Insúa. Who's the goal scorer for Lanús? It's none other than Leandro Díaz, Loco Díaz, with the goal to give the 3 points to the Granate at home against Newell's. Cross from Juan Cáceres. And the 10th goal for Díaz, tying Michael Santos and Mateo Retegui as the top scorers in the Liga Profesional. Speaking of goal scorers, Pablo Vegetti, in stoppage time of the first half in the Córdoba Derby, putting his team up 1-0. But in the second half, a huge improvement from Talleres, thanks to Nahuel Bustos. Beautiful goal by the number 10. Cuts and scores with the left to put the final score 1-1 between Belgrano and Talleres. Fun game in Córdoba. And check out this goal. Woo! Fantastic from Juan Pablo Álvarez, emulating Enzo Fernández in that game between Argentina and Mexico in Qatar. Out of the corner kick, an impossible shot from Álvarez. In the second period, Iván Tapia with another pretty goal long distance shot for the eventual 1-1 between Colón and Barraca Central.